Right then, hello everybody, welcome to my channel, my own channel especially. We're here for GPR, this is the 7th season and we are here at Qatar, and it is the first race I'll ever commentate at Qatar. Hopefully not the last, probably won't be the last, obviously because I've got EXA to commentate and other stuff like that. So we've got a full qualifying session, Q1, 2 and 3, and then a 35% race, which is obviously new to the F123 game. Obviously new graphics as well for, you know, spectating and whatever. But yeah, excited to get started to commentary life in F123 and racing as well. It's better handling for the drivers and better traction as well, as all of you should know about that. But anyway, let's get started here in this qualifying session. But as well, I won't be able to read comments because obviously I'm focusing on this, and yeah, my phone is basically not charged, so I won't be able to read comments anyway. I'll do a cheeky pause like this and then just go to the comments. Opinion on Bayden, I don't know, I've only seen him race once, and that was in EXA. But yeah, this is a very different circuit. Very, very different indeed. People will only be going for maximum of 2 laps in the first qualifying session. Sorry, but yeah. Either way, we're here at Qatar. Oscar, he goes to the top of the timesheets there. So obviously, Qatar being a new circuit, we're in the new season of GPR, and we've got a full grid here for tonight. Oscar setting the fastest time there in the best looking car by far, in the Mercedes. Wildstorm, he goes 122.1, he goes up into P2 click, 122.3, goes up into P3. Sven, he goes up into P4, 122.6 for the Red Bull. Josh has invalidated, so he'll be going again. Jakob will be going sooner or later. He's only just started his outlap. Here's the Williams then, DP, in the first sector. This part, you can just foot to the floor. Now all the way down into turn 5, I think. I can't remember the corners. But easy on the throttle. Obviously, not like F122 traction. And now through this little apex here. I'm only learning the track myself, so I don't know too much. But DP with literally no battery, and he's coming through the flat out section now. So as well, high downforce will be key around this track, like 48, 44 wings I suppose. But the Williams comes around the final corner and uses as much road as possible. No DRS for the Williams, he goes 124.2. He can only manage P7 ahead of his teammate who has not set a time, which is Marcus. Skip goes up to P4. Otis Beckmiles up onto the front row behind Oscar. Bourbon has invalidated. DP's been given a 5-place grid penalty. Oh, there's a contact there between the Aston Martin and the Williams. They've both gone off into the gravel trap, and that's not going to be good for either side, especially for DP anyway. And the Williams, it'll be dropped back 5 places for the 35% race. We'll have 20 laps around Qatar, as some of you should know that anyway, because it is 35%. Bourbon, he's going to start in lap time. He's managed to get a delta on the ball, 135.7. Will not stand, of course, because he invalidated. He's on the medium compounder tyre into turn 1 with the Ferrari and spinning right away on the exit of turn 1, heading into turn 2. And there's yellow flags, obviously, in sector 1 for the Ferrari. Down into Solly then. He's coming through the middle sector now in the Haas. And now coming through this twisty part of the track. Easy to spin there. As you can see there, he had a little bit of oversteer coming out of that corner. And now going purple through the middle sector. He's looking very, very quick coming through the flat out section. And what can he do through this flat out section into the next corner where you have to lift? Through the final corner, he's going to put in a representative time on the board here as he puts his foot to the floor. DRS open. The Haas will come across the line. Where will he be? A long straight, of course. He comes in P7 ahead of Sven, who's just now coming out of the pit lane, believe it or not. So, Bourbon now is warming up his tyres. I don't know why. Gustavas then in the Alfa Tauri. He's coming through the flat out section in the middle sector. He's going a little bit wide. He's using as much track as possible. Obviously, him being very, very fast. Also, time trial merchant, by the way, just to put that out there. But either way, it comes around the final corner. DRS open. Here for the Alfa Tauri. He's used all of his deployment down the straight, and he goes quickest overall with a 121.8 for the Alfa Tauri. So Gustavas on P1, 1/10 clear of Oscar. Well, just about 1/10, nearly 1/10. Bourbon, he can only manage 146.2. 9 minutes 15 seconds in this qualifying one session out of 3, and Gustavas currently holds top spot. Still a lot of people without a lap time. Most of the grid with a lap time. Marcus then on the mediums. He's now coming through the last sector into the final corner now. Easy does it through the final corner. DRS open for the Williams. And he goes up into P10. I'm going to turn my game sound down actually, just quickly. Have a quick read of the comments actually. 3 PC drivers tonight. Yeah, that's a good sign. Obviously crossplay is already working, so. But yeah, good sign of things so far. I'm pretty sure you guys would rather hear my voice than the game itself, but I'd rather hear myself talk. Josh. Now coming through the middle sector, he's set a 27.1 in the first. It's going to be a 54.5 in the middle. He's gone purple apparently in that middle sector. He's now coming through the flat out section all the way down into the penultimate corner. Use as much curve as possible into the penultimate corner. Lift a little bit on entry. Jamie, he goes 121.3. He is 5/10 clear of Gustavas then. And now around the final corner comes the Aston Martin. Easy does it on the throttle. Now DRS open here for Josh. The Aston Martin. Very long straight, all the way down into turn 1, of course, but Josh will only manage P12 at this moment in time. Obviously, the medium runners are not safe, of course. Jakob then coming through the first sector. He's now coming toward that end point. He's gone 27.0, now coming around the apex. He applies the throttle quite nicely there, and all the way down into turn 7. The Aston Martin into turn 8 then. Using that as much curve as possible so you can get the better entry into the next corner. And now coming through this very hard, tricky section of the racetrack. Very hard to get the throttle down. It took me about a few days to get used to that. Otis Beckmars, he retires from the session. He is definitely safe. That is one thing. Jakob now coming through the flat section. Very easy to go wide if you ride too much curb. But now coming through the lifting corner, the penultimate corner. Now coming around the final corner. Try not to use too much curb on entry, and foot to the floor for Jakob in the Aston Martin, so he will be safe in this qualifying session. Will he though? That's going to be the main question. He comes across the line, P6, he is definitely safe then in that Aston Martin. 1/10 clear of Jamie in the Alpine. Who else then? Sven has invalidated. Sven coming into the pit lane now. So this is a very different pit lane to any other. It's a bit wider now coming here. It's a bit of a unique pit lane, but you can't complain. It's quite nice. There's the Red Bull heading into the pit lane, into the garage now. 6 minutes to go then of qualifying one out of Q3. Toxic then on his outlap in the McLaren. Volcano, who's number one around Austria, believe it or not. He's now going to set a lap time here around this, well, not the street of Qatar, but around the circuit of Qatar in the capital of Qatar, which is Lusail. We're now heading down, all the way down into turn one, very long straight. Make sure you brake just before the 50 metre board. And he's not riding too much curb, he's applying the foot down. And now into turn two, very easy to get the foot down, but not so easy to spin anymore. Turn three, now all the way down into turn four and turn five. Easy foot to the floor as soon as possible in both corners. And now all the way down into turn six. He's gone purple in the first sector, has the Mercedes driver. And try not to get too early on the throttle through turn six. Now into turn seven with the Mercedes, and now turn 8, this long left-hander, it leads us into a short right-hander of turn 9, and now into turn 10, easy does it on the throttle, nice and easy, and he's rocking around into the flat section now, all the way down into turn 12 I think, purple through the middle sector. Skip has decided to retire into the flat out section, and now the ultimate corner is invalidated, so will he come into the pit lane for a new set? Yes, he will. He's decided to do that. Very nice lap though, by the way, from the Mercedes. He currently sits in danger at the moment, does Volcano. So, a lot of people in danger, such as Bayden, Alfa Romeo, Senna, and DP as well. Toxic also in danger. Marcus also in danger. We're right on Marcus's on board there in the Williams. Down into turn one. Easy does it on the throttle, all the way down into turn two. Just brake after the 50 metre board. Very easy on the throttle. Into turn four. Turn three, sorry. And now turn four. And he's applying the traction there. He's trying to keep it safe so he don't spin. But now all the way down to turn six, he's 5/10 up on his personal best. And yeah, he's gone very wide on that apex. Now down into turn 7 and turn 8. He's trying to keep the car on the road at the moment, which is quite understandable. He's still up on his time. Easy does it through turn 10. And now coming through the flat out section, turn 11. No, turn 12, turn 13, turn 14. And then turn 15 and turn 16 coming up, just lift a bit through turn 15. Actually, no, that might have been turn 14. But anyway, around the final corner, Marcus, he's definitely going to be safe here in this qualifying session. He comes down straight, DRS open, he's used all of his deployments. And what's it going to be here for the Williams? He is 13th, he is not safe actually. Sven, he thinks he's safe, staying in the pit lane. Well, he might come out later on, actually. Volcano coming back out, so he's not finished yet. So it's very close here in this Q1 session. You just don't know who's going to be knocked out, who's going to stay in qualifying. Obviously, the bottom 5 will be dropped out of qualifying for the next 2 qualifying sessions, and then Q2, we will see another 5 be dropped. And then it all comes down in the final qualifying session of the top 10, which settles pole position. But Marcus, I don't know whether he's safe. That's quite debatable. Josh, he's going again. DP, he's on the mediums. What's he doing on the mediums? What are you doing on the mediums? You should not be on that compound. You should be on the softs. Everybody else has decided to go on the softs apart from DP, so that's quite interesting. Bourbon, he's going to start his new lap time, same as the Red Bull, and now Volcano, he's going to start his lap time. So the bottom five all on lap times at the moment, just to keep themselves safe. Josh also out on a lap as well. We'll see what he's doing. Toxic, he thinks he's safe. He's well safe, actually. Marcus, he won't be going again. What is Marcus safe? Is Sven safe? Sven thinks he's safe. I don't think he is. Uh, Obviously, with Senna, the Alfa Romeo, Bourbon, and Volcano, who's just gone? I think that might have been Solly who's just gone up into P6 there ahead of Wildstorm. Volcano now coming through the middle sector. Very easy does it through turn 7 and turn 8 now. Apply the foot now coming through this long turn 8 into turn 9 and now all the way down into turn 10. This needs to be a very good lap. He cannot invalidate or else he is out of qualifying here for tonight's social race. And now coming all the way down into turn 11, turn 12, turn 13, turn 14. Flat out section, turn 13. And now lift off the throttle into 14. Don't have to brake whatsoever. DP disqualified, so he will be starting at the back of the grid. He is not safe. He'll be out of the next 2 qualifying session. Very much on the limit is Volcano, who he will at time though this time. Where will he sit? P11, just about safe. What about Bourbon? Senna's knocked out. What about the Alfa Romeo? He might be knocked out here. He is knocked out. We will be saying goodbye to the Alfa Romeo here in Q1 with DP. Senna has retired. He has Bourbon is out. Sven out. He was confident that he was going to make it through. About safe. Sven knocked out of qualifying. Same with Bourbon, Senna, the Alfa Romeo, and DP as well. Very lucky is Marcus, but very unlucky is Sven. He thought he was going to get through, but not. He'll have a lot of free soft tyres remaining. Obviously, red flags are going to be in the game as well, so hopefully we'll see our first red flag here tonight. Volcano, you're safe, mate. No point going again, if you know what I mean. Josh, he's invalidated as well. So yeah, that's it for qualifying 1 then, guys. And then we'll move on to Q2. We finished a very long 18-minute qualifying session. We'll move on to a 15-minute qualifying session. Just in a few moments' time, Josh decides to come into the pit lane. Right now, Volcano decides to come across the line. We're just waiting for one person, which is Josh. And we will be set for Q2. So the ones knocked out are Sven, Bourbon, Senna, Kaj, well, I'm just calling him Legend, DP. They're all knocked out here in Q1. So we'll have 15 drivers remaining in qualifying, and then obviously another 5 will get knocked out. So it'll turn into a top 10 shootout. Sometimes it ends up being a top 9 shootout, depending on the situation being held with the drivers. And there you go, Josh finally coming into the garage after a very long time. But CPI Jamie tops Q1 then. Is there any chance for him to get a Grand Slam here today? We will see, but obviously it's only Q1. We'll have to wait till the end of lap 20, of course. Josh in P2, Gustavas P3, Oscar P4, Otis Beckmars P5. We'll read the bottom 5 now. Sven, Bourbon, Senna, Legend, and DP being disqualified. I don't know what he was doing actually in that first session. Of course, Jamie's first. Yeah, that you are right there actually. But a good first qualifying session then from all the drivers. Jamie very much comfortably leading that first qualifying session. Gustavas, who I thought it would have been a bit better, is P3. I thought it would have been challenging Jamie at least, but new game, new rules, and new handling physics each and every year. The worst handling I've ever seen is F122 by far, so if you've ever seen any worse, I only started playing F1 games in 2015 or 2014. But anyway, we are here now for the next qualifying session, which is now Q2, and then Q3, which will be a 12-minute session. So we've got to get past this 15-minute session first. That was just reset because people have not actually loaded in as of yet. But as we wait for drivers to commence out of the pit lane and start their laps, the track will be much faster now because, you know, it's called track evolution. It gets faster and faster. There's a Ferrari now and a Haas coming out of the pit lane, and this is, by the way, equal performance cars, so anybody can take pole position here today. And there's a Haas, McLaren, AlphaTauri, sorry, and Wildstorm now on the pit lane. Solly is going to be the first one to set a lap time here in Q2, and they will be looking for at least a Q3 appearance. He managed to get into the top 6 in Q1, so will he be able to get into that top 10 for Q3? We'll wait and see at the end of the clock, when the clock strikes 0 at the end of this qualifying session. Most of the people on outlaps currently, so it's a bit of a DRS train heading from Solly all the way down. Well, not a DRS train, but 4 cars are very close together, which is from an AlphaTauri to an Alfa Romeo. But yeah, either way, enjoy this Q2 session. Q3 is going to be the main session that everybody is going to look out for, of course. Would it be Gustavas versus Jamie for pole position? Would it be Volcano? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But Solly now coming around the final corner. He's going to start the first lap time here around Lusail. Now all the way down to turn 1. Very long straight here at Qatar, where the World Cup was obviously hosted back in 2022. But now heading down into turn 2 with the Haas. Apply the foot to the floor. Turn 3 then in the Haas. And all the way down into turn 4, just brake after the 50-metre board. And now all the way down into turn 6, there's, I think there might be a bit of slipstream tactics there between Click and Solly. No, my bad. I've just... Oh, Solly spinning. Good thing we caught up onto that one. He has spun, so now Wildstorm will be the first one to set a lap time here in qualifying 2. And he spun as well, so it'll be someone else. It'll be Click now who will be setting a lap time, the first lap time here in Q2. So everybody's on a spin madness at the moment. He's now coming through the flat out section. Is the Haas driver of Solly's teammate, and now all the way down into turn 14 and turn 15, which is the penultimate corner and the final corner. He's gone a little bit wide, but he's using as much track as possible into turn 15, the final corner. Use as much track as possible just to get the better exit all the way down to the start finish straight. DRS open here for the Haas. He will be setting the first representative time here in Q2. He sets a 22.6. Does Click. I think Toxic has just started a lap. Otis Betmars, he goes 22.4. That is the new fastest time of the session. Jamie, he goes up into P4. Josh, he goes up into P1, 22.1. Does the Aston Martin set? There will be quicker times, of course. He goes up into P6. Gustavas, he goes up into P1 with a 21.7. What about Jamie then? Marcus, he goes 21.8, just a tenth behind Gustavas there. Jamie now coming through the middle sector, turn 8. He is now coming through turn 9 now. We're right on his onboard actually. He's not applying too much. I don't think he's that much on a push. I think the battery is kind of spoiling it for a little bit for him. Let's see. Let's have a look. See if he's saving. Yeah, he is saving. So we'll not keep an eye on him. Volcano has just started an outlap. Skip has just started a lap. Toxic. What is he going to set here? Is it going to be P1? Yes, it is. Quite a comfortable margin there over Scustavas. But yeah, nice lap there from the McLaren driver. Solly only managing a 2:13 in the Haas. What about Oscar then? He's starting. No, he's come across the line in P2 ahead of Gustavus and behind Toxic in the McLaren. Well, what about Jakob then? He's coming through the last sector. He's got no battery left in him. Now coming around the final corner of turn 15, a little bit lag there from the Aston Martin, or is that just me? I can't tell. But he's used all of his deployment all the way down to the start finish straight. He goes up into P6. Nice lap time there from the Aston Martin behind his teammate, a couple of hundreds behind his teammate there. Jamie heading back into the pit lane. What about Volcano then? We'll ride on his onboard for the start. Actually, no. What about Skip? Skip is invalidated, so let's forget about him for now. Volcano all the way down. He comes across the line. He's going to start a lap now. All the way down into turn 1. Brake just before the 50 metre board or at the 50 metre board. Depends how late you want to brake. But now all the way down into turn 2. Brake just after the 50 metre board. That time. Now down into turn 3. Flat out, of course. And now all the way down into turn 4. Brake way after the 50 metre board. You've got to be late on the brakes as possible. Just lift through turn 5 and now all the way down to turn 6. Try not to apply too much brake as you will lock the rears. And all the way down into turn 7 and turn 8. He's gone purple in the first sector, has the Mercedes. He's flying through this lap at the moment is Volcano, and is looking very, very, very comfortable all the way down into turn 10. Use as much track as possible to get the most track out of the car. And now down into the flat out section of turn 11, 12, 13, 14. And then obviously the final corner of 15. And now down into turn 14. Just lift a little bit, he's gone a little bit wide. He's very much on the limit there. But now coming around the final corner, he's going to set a representable lap time. What is he going to set here? Volcano down the straight. What's it going to be? Volcano 121.2. And that's the best we've seen out of him so far. Right then, in Q2 we're at the end point now, and Wildstorm just invalidating. It's just the MotoGP little thing there. It's where you just take your time penalty off. There, you can't actually sew it at the end of the race like Formula 1. He's just done the MotoGP line there. But what about Otis Petmars then? We'll see what he can do as he heads down into turn 14. Actually breaks a little bit there. Volcano retires. He's definitely safe. He's going to be fighting for pole position. Against who though? Who's going to be fighting for that top spot in Q3? And now across the line, 21.7. He goes up into P3. Does Otis Petmars. But yeah, I think he will be safe and all. The AlphaTauri. What about the bottom drivers of like Wildstorm and that? Wildstorm is coming through the first sector now, all the way down into turn 4. He's only just started his lap. Oscar, I think, has just gone up into P4, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, whatever's happened, someone has moved up. Who's going to get knocked out then? It's very hard to tell at the moment. It's very close grid, and this is what you like to see. Obviously, quite a short race, medium length. Obviously not 50%, like league racing would normally do. Short quali, 50% race, like most leagues. But Wildstorm goes purple in the middle sector, according to the game. Now coming through the flat out section, the Scuderia Ferrari is now coming through turn 14. Ooh, that back end really wanted to step out. What's it going to be though as he heads around the final corner? Is it going to be enough to get him into Q3? No, it's not. It's not. It's P12 for Wildstorm. Ay. He's going to have to go again. Save up that battery and go again. That's all that matters. That's all that matters for Ferrari. Jamie and Skip are now out for their outlaps, so this could get quite interesting then. To be honest, I don't know who's going to get knocked out. There is a bit of a hold up there between two Aston Martins, I think a Mercedes and a Ferrari as well. But yeah. But I tell you what, this is going to be a very, very close call between between all 15 of these drivers. Now is the time to set your lap, whether or not Solly thinks he's safe. I don't think he is. Seagulls, hello. But Toxic, he thinks he's safe. Oscar, he doesn't think he's safe. He's going to start another lap time. Marcus thinks he's safe. Jamie thinks he's safe. I don't think Jamie will be. I think Jamie will get knocked out here. It's looking very, very likely he'll be knocked out, will the Alpine? He's going to have to hope for a miracle between Jamie and Skip, Josh and Jakob. Well, from 9th to 15th, he's going to have to hope for a miracle if he does not want to get out of, if he wants to get out of Q2 and go into Q3. Click, he's going to start his new lap time. 20 seconds on the clock here in Q2. The Haas comes down into turn 1. What about Jamie? He's coming around the final corner. Is he safe here in this qualifying session? He's not invalidated his time. He's used all of his ERS deployments. I think he will be topping that session. No, he won't. He goes up onto P2 with a 21.4 on Skip. They're in danger. What about Skip? He goes up into P4. He is safe here in this qualifying session. The driver at risk is currently Jamie, who's currently sitting in the pit lane at the moment. So this could really kick off between all these drivers. Solly is also not safe. Marcus is now not safe. What about Wildstorm? He is knocked out here in this qualifying session. What about Om in the Alfa Romeo? What about Click? What about Jakob? Josh, he's coming around the final corner. Is he going to get himself up into Q3, into that top 10 shootout? We will see. It's a very long straight. Has he done it? Yes, he has, just about. He's obviously not safe yet, but Jakob goes up into P6. He's definitely not safe. Jamie, Solly there, knocked out of the session. Knocked out. What about Click? It's all down to him. Can he knock Marcus out of qualifying? Here this evening, it'll be quite a big shock for Marcus as down the straight, Click, I think he might have just knocked Marcus out of qualifying. No, he hasn't. Marcus gets into, he's in Q3. Click knocked out. Very, very unlucky for the Haas. And that is Q2 settled. And Marcus just lives for another day here in qualifying. He's into Q3. And the ones knocked out, Solly, Jamie, Click, and Wildstorm. Jamie and Skip, they didn't get their lap done. Oscar and Skip actually got the same lap time. Wow, unbelievable. They got the same lap time in P4 and 5. That's incredible. Well done to you, pair. Getting the same lap time. Alpha Tauris just making it through as well. I knew the Alpha Tauris would have been safe anyway. It would have been pretty obvious. But is it then for Q2? We're going to move on to the final qualifying session, which is between the top 10 drivers, the top 10 fastest drivers here this evening in GPR Season 7. So right, Solly, Jamie, Click on. Wildstorm, we'll see you in the 20 lap race, the 35% race. And we'll move into the top 10 shootout then, where the fastest of the fastest. This is all down to pole position now. No knockouts. Nothing to do with Q1 and Q2. That's scrapped now. They're out of the window. It's all down to pole position. The twilight phase here are qualifying. The fastest drivers of the fastest. They'll be taking each other on for pole position here in Qatar, in the capital of Qatar, Lusail. So it's between Oscar, Josh, Otis Beckmans, Jakob, Gustavas, Jamie, Marcus, Volcano, Skip and Toxic. They'll be taking it on for pole position, but is it close enough for any shock pole position, any shock front row, any shock second row? We will see. But who is going to be first to come across the line, P1, and who is going to be last to come across the line, P10. So people now are already starting their laps, well, out laps should I say. Jamie, Volcano, Skip, Toxic has gone into the pits as well. Well, not into the pits. Josh, he comes out of the garage. Toxic is now coming out of the garage as well, so it's near enough the whole grid coming out for an outlap here in qualifying 3. And Oscar will be the first one to set a lap time here in Q3. But I tell you what, Marcus is a very, very lucky guy here in qualifying tonight. Click, just missing out on a Q3 spot. Marcus in the Williams, very, very much getting away with it. And it is equal performance, just to let you know, guys. It is equal performance for tonight's social race. Obviously, realistic, that's going to be on a Tuesday night instead. Ten minutes left of full qualifying then, and that is Otis Beckmars now coming out of the pit garage. And it will be everybody on an outlap or even on a lap. Oscar starts a lap now. Speaking of which, Volcano starts a lap now. So both of the Mercedes drivers. So Otis will have to get out of the way of Volcano, and he does so indeed. Very good sportsmanship there between the Mercedes and the AlphaTauri, as Volcano now coming through the first sector. Well, Oscar is eyes to look out for first off. He's invalidated, so now it's going to be down to the other Mercedes of Volcano, who's not invalidated so far. He's still coming through the first sector. He's gone purple, of course, because he has set the first time here in Q3, the first sector time here in Q3. Now coming through the middle sector, he's coming through turn 7 and turn 8. Nice and easy on the throttle. The Mercedes now coming through turn 9 and turn 10. Very easy to spin through the exit of turn 10. Just ride as much curb as possible. Don't invalidate, of course. But now all the way down into turn 11. He's gone purple in the middle sector, of course, because he's the first man to set a lap in the middle sector. Oscar, he's decided to pit. Volcano's invalidated as well. He's decided to pit. Both of the Mercedes invalidating their lap times. It's now down to Skip to set the first time. I think he will anyway. He's good at keeping it on the limit. Now around the final corner comes Skip. He's kept it on the limit. He's going to be the first person to set a lap time here in Q3. He comes across the line. What's it going to be here for the Alpine? A 22.5. Not good. Jamie comes across the line. 21.5. 1 second clear of Skip in the Alpine. Josh coming around the final corner. What can he do? Is Williams first of Marcus. He goes 21.8, goes provisionally onto the front row. What about Josh? He goes 22.2, not good enough from the Aston Martin. He's going to have to settle with the second row as it stands. Otis starting a new lap. What about Jakob? He's invalidated. We'll see what he sets anyway. Is it going to be good enough? He said a 21.5, which would have put him on provisional pole. Interesting there from the Aston Martin. He would have been on provisional poles. Gustavus, he would have been on provisional pole instead of 121.1. Very nice lap time from the AlphaTauri, but obviously invalidating that lap time, so he'll have to go again. 4 drivers only to set a lap time. Skip going again. He's gone purple in the middle sector. He's now coming through all these flat out sections of the racetrack. He's invalidated again. I'll come into the pit lane if I was you, Skip. Get on a new set of tyres. You're obviously not getting out of qualifying tonight though, so Oscar back on an outlap. Otis is invalidated. Why is everybody invalidating? What's going on? Gustavus is invalidated as well. Toxic coming out of the pit lane. He's invalidated and all. So everybody, apart from the top 4, is struggling to get a lap time in. I mean, Skip, he even struggled a little bit to find the pace, but yeah, that's pretty much everybody into the pit lane. Otis Beckmars going out for another time. He's got 60% ERS. Is it enough to get through the whole lap though? I don't think so. He'll be on 0% and deployment used throughout by the time he comes around the final corner. But he's going to go for it. He might as well if you're Otis Beckmars and just get a lap time on the board. Got nothing to lose. There's a lot of time left anyway until the clock strikes 0. But I tell you what, nice to have a full grid for tonight here in GPR. It's a bit different, so very nice to have that atmosphere. Otis Beckmars now comes around the final corner. He hasn't used all of his deployment, but he's going to be on 0% battery. He goes on to provisional pole. Wow, I underestimated him there a lot. I didn't think he was going to go on to provisional pole, but obviously, Skustavas, he was on a very much better time. What about Toxic then? He's coming through the first sector. Now into turn 4 and turn 5. Who's going to set that very key and nice lap time? Who's going to do a Lewis Hamilton Qatar 2021? Who's really feeling it here for tonight? It could be anyone at this point, but I'm telling you now, it is looking like Skustavas at the moment. Well, obviously Otis Beckmars is looking at it at the moment because he's the one on provisional pole and with a lap time. Skustavas, he seems to be the quickest guy on the track at the moment, but Toxic, he's now coming through the middle sector, he's gone purple, he's coming through that flat out section. Very nice, very easy to come through. Lift a little bit on the throttle, and now through the final corner. This is nice and easy, nice and simple. Foot to the floor, to the line, DRS open. Top comes across the line, onto provisional pole. So the McLaren would have been challenging that AlphaTauri for pole position. Volcano now on an out lap as well, so who knows what will happen with these 3 minutes 36 seconds to go on the clock. Anything can happen in qualifying, of course. We can see shocks. Otis Beckmars comes into the pit lane now. He's 2/10 behind provisional pole sitter of Toxic. Oscar, he's now started a lap in the Mercedes. We will have to go again though. No, he's decided to come into the pit lane. Jamie now coming out of the pit lane. Who else? Volcano is going to come around the final corner. He's going to start his final lap here around Qatar. Let's ride on his onboard. Let's do a little bit of a crofty back in 2021 when he was looking down at Lewis Hamilton. And now down into turn 1 with Volcano. Nice and easy on the throttle. Very easy to not spin actually. Now and down into turn 2. Brake just after the 50-metre board. And ride as much curb as possible into turn 3. Flat. All the way down into turn 4. Brake way after the 50-metre board. Very easy to go on the throttle. And just foot to the floor. Just power it down. Just thump it like it's full traction control. And now down into the apex. Nice and easy on the throttle like it's no traction control this time. He's gone purple in the first sector, now down into turn 7 and turn 8. Now through this long left-hander, which is all about turn 8. Now through turn 9 and into turn 10. He's got a bit of oversteer there on the entry to turn 10, riding as much curb as possible, using as much track as possible. Is this going to be enough? Now coming through the flat out sectors, well, the flat out part of the circuit. And now through turn 14, just lift a little bit off the throttle. I wonder what downforce he's using, because he didn't even have to take the foot off the throttle at all. But now coming around the final corner, what's this going to be here for Volcano? He's run out of deployment to be used, because you have to use it anyway. But we're into the 120s. Unbelievable from Volcano. We're into the 120s. And that really does remind me of something back in 2021 when Lewis Hamilton was just all of a sudden just on fire. But Volcano's on fire. He's gone into the 120s and he's the first person to do that here tonight. And are we going to see any better times from the likes of Skustavas or maybe Skip or maybe even Jamie as well? We'll look at Jamie. Can anyone challenge that 120.8? That literally Lewis Hamilton set back in 2021. Purple in the first sector is Jamie. He's gone a little bit slow through the apex, so he might have lost a bit of time. He is up on his time though in the first sector. We're now coming through turn 9 now. This is where Volcano actually slid in turn 10, so he might have even got a 20.7, believe it or not, which would have been faster than Lewis Hamilton's 2021 pole time. He's currently 3/10, over 3.5 tenths up, nearly 4 tenths up on his middle sector time, using as much curb as possible. Is this going to challenge Volcano and his pole time? What is this going to be for Jamie as it comes round the final corner? It's all Jamie versus Volcano, DRS, all the way to the line for the McLaren. Is he going to spoil that Mercedes party? No, he's only the front row. He's 6,000 behind. Oh, just ahead of his teammate. 6,000 behind. Volcano, Oscar retires. What about Gustavas then? What is he looking at? Is he going to spoil that Mercedes party all the way at the front of the grid? And obviously McLaren being 2 and 3 on the grid as well. They are on the first and second row. Gustavas, can he spoil that Mercedes party and ruin that provisional pole time? What's he going to set? He can only manage P3, but the top 3 are into the 120s, so that's going to look very, very exciting. Beckmars, what can he do? He comes across the line. Is it going to be in the 120s himself? If he don't improve, he's going to have to stay in P6. Jakob is going to be P5. Josh P8. Marcus invalidates, so he'll have to stay in P9. What about Skip then? Can he spoil any of that top 3's party? You know how quick he really is. But now coming around the final corner of turn 15, what is going to happen here for the Alpine DRS Open all the way to the line? Can he take pole position off Volcano? No, he can't. He can only manage P5 ahead of Jakob. But what a qualifying that was. Interesting to see. Volcano literally 7 thousandths ahead of Jamie in the McLaren. That is very, very exciting coming into this 20-lap race. What is going to happen? We don't know. 35% race up and coming. So I'll tell you your grid lineup as well for the race. But the top 10 is Volcano on pole position here for Qatar, the first ever league race GPR does on F123 is the first pole sitter around Qatar. Jamie, front row, P2. Gustavas, P3. Toxic, P4. P5, Skip, P6. Jakob, P7. Who was it that was P7? P7, Otis Beckmar, sorry. P8, Oscar. P9, Josh. P10, Marcus. Marcus had nothing to do with this top 10 shootout. He was way, way off the pace. But Volcano is the only man to have set... Well, not the only man to set a 120, but we are in there. We are in there, of course. 8 thousandths separating the top 2. 1/10 separating the top 3. That's how close tonight's race will be, I'm pretty sure. But it all comes down to this between these 3. Who's going to win the race, the social race? Interesting. Very, very interesting. But we are now going into a 20-lap race, which will literally only last like 35 minutes long. So it's not really that long, to be honest. Because a 50% race would normally last around, what, 45 minutes, something like that. Right then, the race for Lusail in Qatar. 20 laps all the way to the checkered flag. And exciting to bring a few new names to GPR as well for their first race in a GPR in the GPR season that is coming up. No more mechanics T-posing, which is a good thing. And we are ready to go to the formation lap then. And who is ideally excited for this one, because this is a bit of a different one now. Let's have a look at the tyres then, and we'll obviously tell you the grid as well. So P1 then, Volcano. P2, Jamie. P3, Gustavas. P4, Toxic. P5, Skip. P6, Jakob. P7, Otis Beckmars. P8, Oscar. P9, Josh. P10, Marcus. P11, Solly. P12, Jamie. P13, Click. P14, On. P15, Wildstorm, P16 Sven, P17 Burbin, P18 Senna, P19 Legend, and P20 DP. So let's have a look at the tyres then. So Volcano on the mediums, Jamie on the mediums, Gustavas on the softs, Toxic on the mediums, all the way down to P9 mediums. Marcus on the hards, which is interesting. Solly on the softs, Jamie on the mediums, Click on softs, Wildstorm mediums, Sven, Burbin, Senna, Legend, DP, also on the soft compound. So it's mainly medium tyres for this one. There is a spinner already on this formation lap. Let's turn the tyres off. We can have a look at that for when the pit stop window comes around, which will be around lap 9, lap 10. But let's hope for the best then. Let's really hope for the best for these drivers into turn 1, of course, because we remember the days back of F1 22 where, you know, not so good starts would happen. You know, from any league's perspective, really, you'd have a crash at least into turn 1. Let's just put it that way. I'm spinning now around the final corner. But isn't that weird? Seeing Red Bull 16th and 18th. And seeing Mercedes and McLaren up top. Well, you see Mercedes up top anyway. But not McLaren usually, not even AlphaTauri either. But the drivers are now lining up for the grid. And yeah, let's just get to the 5 red lights here around Qatar. And the 5 red lights are now appearing on your screen. Revving engines, and it is lights out, and it's go here for the Qatar Grand Prix. What a start that was, by the way, from Volcano as we head down into turn 1. Gustavas and Skipper side by side. Otis Bettmar's got a fantastic start there. Toxic got off to a pretty terrible start there, actually. Marcus on the hards. Very good start. It's very clean all around. There's no spins whatsoever. Everybody keeping it as clean as possible. But Toxic and Otis Bettmars are going side by side. Otis Bettmars goes a little bit wide. Oscar coming through. There is a bit of lag there from Oscar, so please do sort that out ASAP. But good start. Oh, there's a spin. And there's already contact being made between Senna and Wildstorm, if I'm not wrong. It might have been Williams, but there's a Click as well spinning. It's all kicking off here on this first lap. There's Legend going a little bit wide there. He's running off the road. Click gets a 5-second time penalty. There is your first penalty. And Click decides to retire from the race. Does that cause the first ever safety car here in GPR Season 7? There's cautions going around. There's another spin there. I think that might be Jamie. Unfortunately, it will be. What's going on here? And there's Skip going inside of Jamie. That's keep it PG, lads, you know. Oh, the side-by-side action there between Josh and Otis Bettmars, and Otis Bettmars gets ahead there of Josh just before the corner of turn 1. And we've already got one DNF here in this race, and that is from Click in the Haas. Senna got off to a great start there as well. Let's have a look all the way down at him. He's sitting in P14, 1.3 seconds behind Burbin, who also got a very good start. Jakob got off to a terrible start there as well. Sven, he got off to a fantastic start as well. A load of fantastic starts, really. And there is your first VSC. It's a virtual safety car, and it actually shows up this time. Well done, EA. You've done something correct for once. But yeah, it actually shows up whether it's a virtual safety car or a safety car or even a red flag, which is possible now in these conditions of racing. I'm so glad that the red flags are back, especially for online and league racing. It calms down the racing a little bit now, so glad for that to be appearing back on our televisions. well, on our television screens, should I say. But yeah, there is our first safety car of F123, and I'm pretty sure it's ending. There's a Mercedes of Oscar going a little bit wide there, and something tells me this is already ending because they're all going full throttle down the straight, all the way down into turn 1, DRS enabled, and we're back to green flags, and there is Toxic going on the inside there. Skustavas really late on the brakes there, but Toxic just tries to stay ahead, and Toxic is ahead of the AlphaTauri, Skustavas, and the McLaren can set his sights on Skip up ahead. But what else is going to happen between these two? Maybe Toxic can look at further positions up ahead. Volcano looking at his sights for a race win. But Jamie, you never know what he can do at this position. You never know what happens up top sometimes. From time to time, these things do happen. But it's Formula 1. Anything can happen apart if you're Red Bull and Max Verstappen, then you just easily go and get a podium every single race of the season. But yeah, we've only got one DNF in 3 laps. We were expecting 7 in 1 lap, so especially if it was F122 anyway. There's still a few lobby glitches here and there though. That's just normal for a new game release. For when a new game releases, you expect a few glitches there, here and there. Still pretty annoying, but we will get over that one day in the next update. But Jamie and Wildstorm going at it. Jamie, very nice move there from the Alpine Volcano. Oh, Wildstorm into the barriers, spinning. And sorry if you can hear a train there, guys. Wildstorm decides to retire, and that's our second DNF of the night here tonight. And yeah, that's unfortunate. Jakob, noticed Beckmars got off to a really terrible start, but yeah, has left for dead, and they're going side by side is Jakob and Otis, and very nice move there from the Aston Martin. There's also also in it as well, so will we see a 3-way scrap here for P10? We will see. Oh, Jakob going around the outside here of Ob. Very late on the brakes there from the Aston Martin. I think he might have just done it. Yes, he has. Nice move there from the Aston Martin. Skustavas, he's spun. Skustavas down in P9 now. I told you, anything can happen in these races. But Marcus on the mediums in Hards P6. Hards, believe it or not. DP with the 3-second time on it. The first track limit penalties we have seen today. In very short notice, believe it or not. Oh, there's someone that's gone very, very deep into the gravel, and that's DP, and that's another virtual safety car, a second VSC here tonight. And that is from DP indeed, going very, very deep. Very good FIA controlling though, to be fair. They're just trying to keep it at a VSC for now. Obviously, it's only a lost front wing that's just happened all the way down into the gravel trap. Literally far, far away, so... Oh, Skustavas is out. Wow, we've got 3 DNFs already. Still a VSC though, luckily. Obviously, Skustavas retiring in the pit lane. What does this mean then? Is the VSC ending? We are waiting to see whether this virtual safety car is ending, and Solly has joined us back here. Otis Beckmar's getting a penalty. There's penalties flying all over the shop at the moment, and Volcano has managed to grab 2 seconds. Who's that has spun? It might have been Otis Beckmars. Yes, it is Otis Beckmars who has spun. No, it's not. Okay. What was going on there then? I'm not too sure. He might have spun. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, either way, Solly has left. Oh, there's 2 people coming in the pit lane, and that's Toxic and Oscar. They're already coming into the pit lane. What is it for though? Is it for a set of softs? I believe so. It will be. And but yeah, really. Toxic and Oscar OT spec miles, they're making really early pit stops here. Oh no, they're serving drive-through penalties. Okay, okay. Senna now up into the top 10 ahead of Toxic. What about Solly, who's actually an AI? Who's trying to go around the outside? Didn't work. Solly has joined us back. I want to see a red flag. What is DP trying to do, by the way? I think he's either what is he trying to do? Oh, that's dangerous. That is dangerous. He's coming back on the racing line. Very, very dangerously there. He's been lapped either way. He's going down the inside there of an Alfa Romeo. That's so, so dangerous. From DP. Oh, wow, wow, wow. Okay, get out of our lobby, mate. I swear. Solid decides to retire. Oh, wow. Okay. Decided to retire on the track. It's only a social race anyway. It's not that deep. But it would be nice to see clean racing, if you know what I mean. Josh getting overtaken by Skip. Holy moly, we've already got 5 DNFs. Volcano just running away with it now, I suppose. 3-race scrap here for P3 between Skip, Josh and Marcus. Marcus on the hards, so he'll have a bit of a tyre advantage. Toxic getting a 3-second time penalty there for multiple warnings. Legend into the pit lane now. There's yellow flags, and there is our first full course safety car. It is lagging quite bad, and yep, there you have it. Bourbon has retired. I guess they're trying to get a red flag out of this, which, you know, I totally understand is what they're trying to do. But people will be boxing already, so this is the first round of pit stops. I would have gone on to the hards. Yeah, Josh is doing a very smart stop there. I would have gone on to the hards. Volcano's gone onto the hards. Yeah, it's basically the whole grid making the pit stop. Right, we are going to get back underway for this one. I will have to leave in the bit. Well, I'll have to leave now. It's only a social race, so it's not really that deep. But green flags, go go go, volcano back brings us back underway. But now I'm gonna have to go, guys. But yeah, I hope you enjoy season 7 for GPR. Very much appreciate for the guys joining me tonight. So I'll see you lot later, maybe for Tuesdays for realistic division. So yeah.